Hello Stampers, Deb Valder, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here, and today I'm going to show you how to do ombre stamping. It's having colors or tones that shade into each other, used especially with fabrics, and the color is graduated from light to dark. So that's exactly what we have here. We have colors that are going from light to dark. These happen to be in the same color family, but it's very popular in fabrics, it's popular in nails. Nails are just absolutely huge. So this week I decided to do quite a few parts to the ombre stamping because you can do it in just about anything. So today, this is my first version. I needed a birthday card for my son, and I just wanted to do something that was just with masculine colors. So this is what I came up with. This is how I discovered ombre stamping. So let me just show you what I did. The first thing that I did was I cut a piece of cardstock, and my base card is 11 by 4 1/4, and it is scored at 5 1/2. So that is this piece right here, and then on top of it I have an early espresso piece of cardstock that is 5 1/4 by 4. Now to stamp, let me just show you how I did the stamping part of it, and I'll try to keep that in the picture. The first thing that you're going to need is a Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. And I did the ombre stamping both on my background stamp right here and also on my words. So let's start with the background stamp. I like to use sponges. My sponges are very well used. I cut them in a full sponge into eighths, and then I just put a little topper on it with the color that I use as the sponge, and I also label it. And that way there I have a sponge for each color of my my stamping. Now I'm going to go from light to dark, so I'm going to start with my Crumb Cake Ink, and I'm going to start with my Crumb Cake sponge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my off-the-grid stamp, that's this one right here. I'm going to take that and I'm going to just start at the top and I'm going to work my way down. So I'm just going to take my sponge and I'm just going to lightly sponge in some color right here on the top. Then I'm going to take my baked brown sugar and the baked brown sugar sponge, and I'm going to sponge the next color. And then I'm going to take, as my next color, I'm going to take soft suede right here, and I'm going to sponge a little bit of soft suede on there with my soft suede sponge. You don't need a whole lot. And then my last color is going to be early espresso. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take, after we've sponged all of these on here, we're going to take and we're going to huff on our stamp. That's to re-moisten it, and we're going to, don't choke yourself, and we're going to stamp that down. Excuse me. And how we have, you see how the colors just kind of graduate? When they dry, they lighten up just a little bit, but this is what we have so far. Now we need to start taking and doing our words, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start with the lightest color, which is my crumb cake. And I'm going to take my words. Now what I did was I previously stamped this on my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. Now let me just tell you a little bit about my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. This is the smooth side. This is the textured side, and I always do it with the textured side up. I do stamp with Stays-On ink so that it doesn't smear. When I'm doing this with customers, a lot of times what they'll do, not really understanding or knowing, is they'll run their hand across it and it'll smear, it'll get on their hands, which ultimately gets onto their card, and that's just not a pretty picture. So I do it with Stays-On ink, and I just clean it off with Stays-On ink cleaner, and it works. So to do using this Stamp-A-Ma-Jig, you do need to stamp on your little mat that comes with the Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. This is the Stamp-A-Ma-Jig positioner right here. Now, if you were left-handed, you could actually do this any way that you want. Now, today at my club, we had a lefty here today, and she was having a hard time, but what I should have done is just stamped it on this side so she could hold this with her right hand and stamp with the left. If you're right-handed, you want to stamp with the right hand, so that's why we do it on the left-hand side. Does that make sense? All right, so what I did was I took this, and previously I just stamped it onto my sheet, and I just did that in the little T-square, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to lay this on here, and the more you use your Stamp-A-Ma-Jig, the easier it gets. There's really it's not rocket science. It's just very easy. It's just, you got to remember to take the sheet away and just a couple of other things. Now the first one is going to be a little bit tricky because we don't have my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig on any... it's not touching the vanilla cardstock, so we've got to be very careful when we lift this up. So I just want to make sure that this is straight. And what I'm doing is I'm just lining the little scrolly thing up here on the top, and then this one right here on the side, close to the edge. Now I'm just going to very carefully lift this up, and I'm going to take and I'm going to ink up my crumb cake with my stamp. And then I'm just going to take and I'm going to slide it down. You see where it's in this little T-square? We're just sliding it straight down, and that is my first piece. Now I'm going to take and I'm just going to wash this off. And then the next color, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the baked brown sugar. But first I have to line this up. So if you're doing this exact card, and it's a great masculine card, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up, again, this right here on the side, and these little scroll marks right up here by the birthday, okay? We've got our happy, it looks pretty even. And I'm just going to put my Stamp-A-Majig up here in the corner. Now you see now it's holding on to the vanilla cardstock, so it's going to be a little bit easier. So I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to ink this up into the baked brown sugar and slide it right down. See how we're progressing? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my happy birthday and lay that down just like this. And I'm lining up again the scroll marks with the bottom of the birthday and this over here on the side. And I'm just going to line this up. Now I've cleaned off my stamp, and the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use my soft suede. That's my next color. And just slide it right down. And then my last color is going to be the early espresso. So let's just take and line that up, slide this on. We're going to be grasping the, let's get this a little bit straighter here. Okay, see that's what's nice about the Stamp-A-Majig. You could eyeball it, but it's just not the same. The next color I need is my early espresso. I'm going to ink that up. I'm going to hold on to my Stamp-A-Majig and just slide this down. Now as these dry, the colors get lighter and they blend in a little bit better. That is ombre stamping right here. Now let me just finish it off by adding this to my card. And we're just going to take a little bit of adhesive, put that on there like that, add it to our card, and we have one more thing. We're going to add some, we're just going to add some candy dots from the Neutrals collection. And if you look at these, I did these in the ombre colors also. Look at Crumb Cake, Soft Suede, and Early Espresso. So these are the, that's even ombre. So this is the first part. This is part one in my series, and it's called Ombre Stamping. Stay tuned tomorrow for another exciting ombre stamping. Hop on over to my blog. If you have any questions, just let me know. Take care and have a super day.